Welcome to the 2026 FIFA World Cup preview. It's going to be an interesting one here on City Dice Sports. I got Danny here with me to take a look at the FIFA World Cup 2026 happening in the USA, Canada, and Mexico. Welcome, Danny.
Thank you very much, Titi.
Yes, for this preview, we're going to be focusing. Unfortunately, I cannot focus on Nigeria because Nigeria found a way not to make it. But I got Danny here, and Danny is going to be taking us into the passion of the World Cup for all Ghanaians and what people are expecting for the World Cup. And also, we're going to be looking at the top favorite team in the World Cup and giving takes on what we are expecting for the 2026 World Cup that's going to be played in the US, Canada, and Mexico, 3 joint host countries for this year's World Cup. Is going to be fun. It starts here really soon. Danny, let's start with Ghana. I will try to avoid speaking about Nigeria a lot just so that I don't do things that might not be allowed on YouTube. But we're going to start with Ghana. What are your expectations? First of all, take me through. Ghana is in the World Cup. We have other African countries in the World Cup. But take me through the Ghanaian team, the expectations of the Ghanaian country for this team. What would you consider a successful World Cup? What would you consider a failure for a World Cup? The group for Ghana, and also looking at Ghana's qualification stage, where do you think Ghana is in terms of preparation to the World Cup? I'll let you get into everything Ghana for the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
Okay, so thank you, and then thanks to the viewers for tuning in as well. So preparations, World Cup, the biggest sporting event on earth, and it is always a beauty to witness your country in action. And in this case, Ghana is going to be in the mix, and the expectations come in equal measure. Ghana, just as with almost every West African country, and maybe even broadly the African continent, we are soccer crazy or football crazy. So there's always that desire to want to see the team do well. But then more often than not, desires and reality are often not in symbiotic relationships as would want them to be. And that is where Ghana finds itself at this point. The glory days of when the team used to be good and when the populace used to have a certain expectation going into the tournament has subsided drastically over the past few years because the team has just not been good. And we can pinpoint multiple reasons why things have been this way, with a big one being mismanagement at the highest level, that is those running football in the country, and how corrupt the system has been to the point of it's playing out on the field. As to how the country qualified, because the country failed to qualify for the very recent AFCON, but for some reason they scrapped a way and then sneaked into this World Cup like thieves at night. And and optimistically, we all want to do well, but realistically, we do not see that based on what we've seen so far from the team, from the friendlies, because the last 7 games Ghana has played, they've lost 6, and they drew 1 recently, I think last week, or no, 2 or 3 days ago against Wales, right? So the team has been in a very poor run of form, and the personnel that are going or that are playing currently on the team too are not as, or perhaps they are not as, maybe we don't know whether it is because of coaching or whether it is just the personnel that is not good enough. We now have a new coach, Carlos Queiroz, the former assistant to Alex Ferguson and coach of Iran. He's Egypt at some point as well. He's now going to take the team, and since taking on this new job, he's coached just 1 game, which is the recent game we played against Wales, and that is the only positive result we've had in the past few months, which was a draw. So I think it's raising a bit of expectation again from locals back home, but realistically, we do not, or personally, I do not see the team doing any exploit. Anything they're likely going to do in this tournament and even go out of the group would be a miracle, and we'll take that as a win. Unfortunately, the standard for the national team at the World Cup level has been the 2010 performance, the quarterfinal, right? Just with a glimpse of what the semi-final should have looked like, but it never happened. But then just knowing that our team can perform optimally at the highest level, it gave Ghanaians the belief that okay, we are not too far off from being at the top of African football again. And that even transpired in the subsequent AFCONs that we played, where we went to the final, played semi-finals about 2 times consecutively, lost the final to Cote d'Ivoire on penalties. So, we could just tell that the team was quality enough. So anytime we went into a tournament, we were expectant, and our expectations were in the right place too, because we have the personnel to back the expectations. But this time around, the ball game is different, and the marquee player of the team is also injured, which is Mohamed Kudus. So he's not coming with the team. And in recent years, everything that has been good has come through him when it comes to the Ghanaian national team. And so with his absence, we are unsure as to how things will play out. But then we are in the World Cup, so we still have to support the team anyways and be hopeful of maybe some surprise performances. Maybe the players have something in their tank that we've never experienced before, given that we haven't had good coaches as well over the course of time. So Carlos Queiroz, this is a man with almost 42 years of experience coaching at the highest level, and tournaments are tournaments. We have seen highly favored teams go in and disappoint, and then we've seen dark horses come around and cause surprises here and there. So we can chance on that glimpse of 1% hope, 99% optimistically. The team is not good enough to go as deep into the tournament.
Okay. Yeah, I've not heard too much buzz from Ghana going into this World Cup. The African countries most people are looking at to perform the best would be Morocco and Senegal.
And Cote d'Ivoire.
And Cote d'Ivoire as well. Cote d'Ivoire does have some impressive talent as well going into the World Cup. We all know Morocco last World Cup were excellent. Played in the bronze medal game, lost to I think Croatia.
Yeah.
That be Croatia?
No,
yes.
The bronze medal.
They played in the bronze medal. They lost.
I've forgotten who they played again.
Yeah, they did play in the bronze medal. They were in the semifinals.
Yes.
So Morocco kind of broke that threshold for Africa and got to the semifinals. So yes, I would say Morocco, Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire would definitely be looking at those teams. Ghana doesn't seem to have a lot of hype coming in. Unfortunately, I think Kudus will be injury, right? He's not going to.
Yeah, he's injured. He's been injured since January.
Yeah, in the Premier League season. Yeah, so I know it's still an exciting thing to be at the World Cup, considering that Ghana was not in the AFCON. Which is something which will be very interesting, because you expect the team going to the World Cup to be good enough to be in the African Cup of Nations as well, but that's not the case. We're going to go ahead. So I wanted to start with that. We're going to be looking at the African countries here doing really well. Canada maybe being impressive as one of the host countries. And why are you laughing at Canada?
I'm supporting Canada. I'm supporting Canada in this one. No, I'm supporting Canada, to be very honest.
No, I'm sorry. I need them to do well.
I follow them quite keenly. It's surprisingly, I follow most of their players.
Yeah.
Estacio, of course, Jonathan David.
Davis, Alfonso, yeah.
Alfonso is injured, so he's on the side.
But
they have another guy of Nigerian descent, Promise David.
Oh yes.
From his saga, he's also quite good. He plays for Union Goulon in I think one team.
Premier League, yeah. But yeah, I'm hoping Canada does well in this as well. You got Mauricio Pochettino coaching the US. But yes, in this World Cup preview, one thing I wanted to take a look at here are the top 10 favorite teams going into the World Cup, and to get your take on them. We got Spain as the favorites as for the World Cup, with some sportsbook odds at 5.5, closely followed by France at odds of 6, England 7.5. You can basically say those are the three favored countries in the World Cup. Just underneath them, you got Brazil, Portugal, and Argentina. And right under those three, you got Germany, the Netherlands, Norway, and Belgium. When you look at this list from here, who are the teams you're most looking forward to? I'm going to mention one here. I think Netherlands is underrated, in my opinion. I'm shocked to see them close to the bottom of the top 10, being 8th favorite. So I think Netherlands is going to do way better than whatever their projection is at the moment. But we're looking at those top teams. We know Spain are the current Euro defending champions. What are you looking forward to among these top teams? You got Carlo Ancelotti as the coach of Brazil, ultra talented Portugal team. That Portugal midfield is being talked about a lot. Vitinha, Bruno Fernandes. We obviously got Argentina. Messi is still there. England will always be talked about a lot, and all the controversy behind Cole Palmer and Phil Foden not making the English squad with Thomas Tuchel as the coach of the English squad. Of course, France is super loaded as well. Germany, Netherlands might be underrated. These are teams that usually also have good squads as well. But when you look at this whole team, who do you think is going to win the World Cup, and what teams do you think are underrated here? You're expecting a performance from, or who's kind of overrated in your opinion?
I think the list to me is very logical. I do not buy into the argument about Netherlands because they do not have a good enough attack to cause enough damage for my liking. It's Vegas, it's Memphis Depay and Cody Gakpo. They are all mid. So
Yeah, I
they
think they've
don't
considered just no, they're not the ones. It's Ecuador that's considered only
they
5 million.
don't have the firepower to, and tournaments are about get your chance, put it behind the net, let's close out the game. And if your firepower is what you are giving me in the forms of Depay, Vegas, and Cody Gakpo, then I'm sorry, I'm not ready for the tournament. I am happy to be proven wrong, but I think based on the list you've shared, they deserve where they are. In terms of favorites, quite clearly, De La Fuente has done fantastic with the Spanish team, and it is not surprising that they are being rated this highly because again, these are the reigning um, what's the name of this Euros champions. And one thing about the Spanish team is they always look unassuming on paper, but when they come on the pitch, you can tell that this is a well-drilled team, and they are young, so they play with a certain level of urgency and then adrenaline, right? So I'm not surprised that they are seen as favorites. As to whether Lamine Yamal, yeah, Lamine Yamal will be fit enough because he's been dealing with nagging injury issues here and there. Whether he'll be fit enough to see out the entirety of the tournament is one thing that we have to leave for time. But if he is fit, you can be sure that the two of them, him and then Nico Williams, are going to be a menace for almost every team they're likely going to play against. So I think them being rated this highly is well in place. The French team, the least said, the better. There's talent oozing everywhere on the pitch. Maybe it may be the most unbalanced team on paper because there's just an overload of talents on almost every angle. But then their midfield is not as strong. Kante is not the Kante we knew of past. Chouameni hasn't been good this season, and even in the past few seasons. Adrien Rabiot hasn't been good either. He's been okay, right? And if you are going into the tournament with this kind of a midfield, then there's a lot to be desired because yes, you can outscore your opponents, but do you have the shield to protect your back line when it comes to it? Upamecano is a good defender, but I won't bet anything on him. He always has a mistake in him, so I don't trust him as much. William Saliba has been injured. He is a doubt as to whether he can play or otherwise. If Saliba was around, it would have made some sense because he's a calm head. Upamecano plays with a certain sense of rush and urgency to him, which is good because he has a lot of speed. So that would have been a good complement. Upamecano, William Saliba. One sits back, the other is more aggressive, like how it is in Arsenal with Gabriel and Saliba. But in this case, if Saliba can't make it, given the rumors about injury, then I don't know who is going to partner Upamecano. But then Upamecano is always a mistake waiting to happen, so I don't trust him as much. On their flanks, they have Lucas Hernandez, who hasn't been playing often of recent, and then there is this guy who plays for Barcelona,
Jules Conde.
Jules Koundé. I don't trust Koundé as much too. Look at their backups. Malo Gusto. Malo Gusto hasn't been good as well. So and they have wingers who maybe just maybe might help slightly because they track back, Due tracks back, given how they are set up with PSG. So if and only if what's the name of this French coach?
Didier Deschamps.
If and only if Didier Deschamps want to like implement some parts of PSG style of play into this current setup, then maybe the left backs would get some support in the events that they are under a barrage of attacks. And I watched their recent friendly against Cote d'Ivoire, and you could tell the flanks were struggling, right? Because the laterals were not as good enough, joining the attack and then doing their defensive duties too. So that would be France's midfield and defense is just okay. They can scrap you a win, but when push gets to shove, can they hold it together? And that is one of my major concerns for France. But when it comes to their front line, there's nothing to say. There's Ryan Cherki, there's Mbappe, there is Desiree Doué, there is Dembele, there's Bradley Barcola, there's Mateta. If you want to change the style of play and play as a pivot, play to like a pointed striker that you play toward, there's there's enough firepower to play different styles up front. But can the midfield and defense hold them down as much? Again, we have to leave that to how things will play out in the tournament. As for England, I think the hype around them is very well deserved. They've been to the final of the Euros and then the Champions League back to back. Sorry, the Euros very recently, and I don't think they've not been to the World Cup final.
The World Cup finals the last time, I think, who played France?
It's surprising I can't remember this.
Yeah.
Yeah, please help with the check. But while City is checking,
Yep.
when you look at the English team, the Euro finals, and then they made a deep run in the World Cup as well. So it is boiling up. It is coming, right? As to whether they'll get over the line, we leave that to time. But then the appointments they've made in Thomas Tuchel gives us an impression of where the English FA is seeing things and then how they are looking to get things over the line. And in the modern game, there are only a few coaches I would want to have on my touchline if I'm playing a tournament. And one of them is Thomas Tuchel. He knows how to play tournaments. And that was when he went to Bayern Munich and he struggled with the league. Almost all the tournaments he played, even in the Champions League, you could tell this man knows these knockout games. He knows how to manage those knockout games. And I wasn't surprised when he named his squad because we all know Thomas to be a pragmatic coach. Oh, yo, flair, I can play. He doesn't have time for that. Can you get me the results? And just as other commentary has been about the English team, since time immemorial, the English team has been known as the team that assembles superstars from the Premier League and now are struggling to find a way to make all of them fit together on the pitch. When I look at this current English team that he's assembled, there's a bit of a balance in terms of who can do what. A good mixture of youth and then experience, and then just a bunch of winners because a good number of English teams have won across board from Europe. The Aston Villa team, the Crystal Palace team, the Arsenal team has won to play at the highest level. So playing in a tournament of this nature where it's about moments, it's about understanding the pressure that comes from home and then within the stadium and the media. Can you take it all in? I believe the current assembly that he's done with the players have been in the pressure cooker several times to know that, okay, we've been here. This is nothing we haven't seen before. And we have a coach who has won the Champions League on our touchline. So there isn't much to be overly concerned about if he's giving us instructions on what to do. And again, they have the best striker in the world leading the attack too. So what else can you wish for in terms of the team setup? Tuchel would be under pressure, I must say, because Southgate did the unimaginable with this English team. They just weren't able to win it. So anything less than a final would be a bit of a failure on the part of Tuchel because your predecessor did got sacked for less. So
yeah, I think they went to the semi-finals last time was Argentina, France.
That is true.
Before that,
but then England went to the semi-final. Yes,
was the semi-final. Yeah,
right. So this is a coach took them to the final of the Euros, the semi-final of the World Cup.
Yeah.
So the only thing I would be seen as a semblance of okay, we've made some progress in terms of success is getting to the final, and even getting to the final will not be enough for them because they believe they have enough talent to get over the line. Right, and World Cups come only once in 4 years. Tuchel won't be their coach in the next 4 years. I can say that for a fact because Tuchel self-implodes. He's like Antonio Conte. They always self-implode. So when you get them at their finest, make sure you grind out something from them before they self-implode. This is the tournament for England to prove that indeed they have players who have come of age and they can get the job done. And I think the balance of the squad this time around, regardless of the omissions that were made and then the noise that came with it, it's a normal with the English team almost every time.
Is that valid noise though? Leaving out Cole Palmer, Morgan Gibbs-White, Phil Foden, Harry Maguire.
I think the only omission that for me raised an eyebrow was Harry Maguire because Harry Maguire gives you everything. When Maguire wears the England shirt, he plays out of his mind. So he's the only person that I see as okay. This omission, I don't buy into it because you called Joel Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa is not better than Harry Maguire. This guy, what's his name? Kwanzaa from
Ezri Konsa.
Ezri Konsa from Aston Villa is not any better. Even Dan Burn, but I can get why you would want Dan Burn because of his height. Because it would get to certain points, maybe in the tournament where he wants to grind out a result.
Yeah.
And more often than not, when the opposing team is under pressure and they want to score, they tend to float it. And that is when players like Dan Burn will come in handy, right? Stones has played only 8 games this season. So the omission of Harry Maguire was very questionable. But anything beyond that is whatever it is he wants to get out of Cole Palmer, he can get from Morgan Rogers easily. And Rogers even gives you more to his game. Rogers attacks the goal. Palmer has we've said this time and over that it doesn't look like he's as involved in the game as we'd want him to be, right? And we get it. He has his own skill sets. But again, knowing how Tuchel coaches, Tuchel is he's a classic coach that wins a tournament. He doesn't coach it. So he puts together the pieces that can get the job done, get it over the line. The praise will come later. But for now, I want to get the job done. And I think the assembly of talent that he has so far will be good enough to make a deep push into the tournament.
Yeah, the thing with Tuchel that I was listening to his interview after he made the selection is if you're not going to play the tournament, he needs people that can play their role. Just as we were saying about Panzer, probably your third defender center back might not see a minute unless maybe there's a meaningless third game in the group stage. And you're looking for players that his starting back line is Maguire and Ezri Konsa, so you don't want Maguire looking over their shoulder. So it's almost like a balance and role-based selection. Ivan Toney for a specific role.
Fantastic addition.
Logically, you wouldn't see any reason why he should be there, but it's a specific role. It's a specific. Harry Kane might never leave the pitch the whole tournament if need be.
So he has to. He has to rest at some point.
But that's the thing, right? You just need somebody that can give him a blow here and there, and a little bit off. I think the omissions might be a little bit overblown. I just think if he doesn't win the tournament, he just left himself a huge pundits media.
That is normal. If you don't lose, you're the worst thing to have ever happened to humanity. It's normal.
Anyway, the job is merciless. Anyway, if he doesn't win the World Cup, it's gonna come for him. So you might as well get the best players and be satisfied you did your thing. And not actually go with what other people want. So based on those teams we're looking at here that are rated to be among the best teams in the tournament, this is a 48-team tournament. So for people that don't know, you might see a few bad teams in there. Curacao, New Zealand.
Who says they're bad teams? I beg.
Well,
I can profile all the teams you're going to come to call bad teams. No. I'm not agree.
In a regular 32 World Cup, a lot of these teams, 16 wouldn't make it. So there are teams here that would not usually make it. I'm sure at some point they can kick a ball, right? But I wouldn't be surprised to see a few 6-goal different games in the group stage.
That has always been the case.
Germany scored more than 2.
Germany beat KSC, that is Saudi Arabia, 6-8 at some point.
I remember
Brazil collected 6 or 5 from Germany at some point too.
Yeah.
So it's normal.
It would happen, but there might be a few more of those. There might be Haiti might be collecting a few goals.
I won't agree.
You don't think so?
I can give you my dark horses in this tournament.
Okay, let's hear those dark horses. Who are the teams that you think usually you wouldn't expect to be in the World Cup, but is going to make for some quality football in this World Cup? I have one before you go. I think Ecuador is going to be pretty impressive, but they're not really like a low minnows team. But I think Ecuador is going to be pretty good. But go ahead with teams you like.
Ecuador, no, because Ecuador, yes, they have a big star in Moises Caicedo, but that's it. Because
they have one of the best defenses coming into this World Cup. They finished second. I think American qualifiers, considered 4 or 5 goals, the best in South America. So yeah,
I don't know. Maybe I may be mistaken, but I don't know whether it is Pacho and Mosquera.
Yes, I think that's Ecuador's team, and you have Valencia in front and stuff. So they do have a good defense.
So they have a good defense. They have Enna Valencia over there as well. Enna Valencia is an experienced head. There's Moises Caicedo in the middle, who do a lot of sweeping. Yeah. But again, the highest currency of the game is putting the ball in the back of the net. And their striker, Johnny Aboa, he's a very useless striker. Because his father is Ghanaian, so I know. useless. So that is for Ecuador. But again, it's a good shout given the midfield and defense they have, because all you need is one goal. And
Yeah,
if you can guard
exactly.
it properly, you make your way out of the group. For dark horses, I think the biggest dark horse is Norway. And Norway, largely because of course they have Erling Haaland,
Okay.
right? I I don't know. I don't know. I've always had mixed feelings
They,
about.
they are ranked ninth overall, so there's a certain level of respect being given to them. They are
It
ranked
is because
ahead
of
of
the
Germany, right?
because of the personnel they have,
Yes.
right?
Odegaard is also there as
I
well.
want to rank them above Germany, but then I'll still give them a nod because of course they have Haaland. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about Odegaard almost every time. I don't see him as an elite midfielder, but on his day, again, if you're playing for your nation, it's a different beast. So players play out of their minds, especially because you only get these chances once in a lifetime. So when you get it, you have to play out of your mind. And I won't be surprised if Odegaard, because he's their captain in the national team too, so he has to step up the plate. And there's Nusa. Nusa, they have one Nusa guy who plays on the wings. Sweet, sweet. So that is one of my dark horses going into the tournament. I know people are clowning on one of my other dark horses is, again, this might sound strange, but Japan.
Oh no, I do like Japan. I actually do like Japan. I think under the right condition, there are very few teams. Where are they ranked right now? I'm just curious. Japan
Japan
is
Japan is a highly technical team.
very technical, very efficient.
If you play with them, they'll run ranks around you easily.
They're ranked around 12th right now going into the tournament, just above Morocco and the US,
Mm-hmm.
and behind Belgium, Colombia.
So people should look out for Japan. Mitoma is around. There's Kawasaki. There's Minamino.
Tanaka.
Minamino is there. Tanaka, even their goalkeeper, Zion Suzuki. I think his father is Ghanaian as well. Zion Suzuki. He's the only. Okay, there are two mixed or biracial Japanese players. So they have one that comes off the bench. So I've forgotten his name, but he's also very good. So this is also a good team that people should look out for as a dark horse going into the tournament. From the African continent, I'm going Cape Verde. Cape Verde, because when I watched Cape Verde, even of course, there are fairy tale story that happened in the AFCON in Cote d'Ivoire. I followed them closely from that point on, and the Cape Verde team is very technical. If you fool, they'll dribble you. If you don't give them the respect, you go feel them. So the Cabo Verde team, this is for the African contingency going in, because we know who the favorites are from Africa. But then from Africa, look at Cape Verde. From the Caribbean, Haiti is in a very, 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 very difficult group. I think they're in the same group with Scotland, Brazil, and one team like that. But people should look out for Haiti. People should look out for Haiti.
You really think Haiti is going to make a? So let's say, what would you consider a great run for Haiti? Round of 32 or
If it will
round
be
of 16?
difficult, it will be difficult because of the group they find themselves in. But I'm talking about them a dark horse, not because they're going to cause major upsets, but people will be surprised with how they turn up to the tournament.
They would need
That
to do. They would need to at least make one upset to get the attention of people. You got to like
which
win
is true.
one game,
Which
right?
is true.
Like you got to find somebody. It doesn't have to be a big name, right? Low expectations, but you shock. They got to do something. You got to do one. Haiti is a team that I've heard people speak positively about.
And I watched them in the Gold Cup
Yeah,
and the CONMEBOL Gold Cup. They are very, very good. And I watched the CONCACAF qualifications too. That is where I even saw Curacao that people are clowning on. I watched Curaçao's final game
Curacao.
against.
It's just fun to say Curacao. It's gonna be.
I watched their final game against.
It's like New Caledonia. It's how New Caledonia can play football.
I guess it's because like Curaçao is a country of 123,000 people only.
Yeah, there's no this. It's like, where do you find the football players? Are they not all like farmers, teachers? Like, where would you find like do they have a professional league?
What people don't know is Curaçao is part of the Netherlands kingdom.
Yes,
And
they are part of that colony. Yeah,
their coach is Dick Advocat. People don't know that Dick Advocat has earned the stripes in the game. He may not be an elite manager in that sense, but he's always at the mid-range level. And Dick Advocat coached the Dutch national team at some point too. He's now coaching the Curaçao team. If I'm not mistaken, he's either the technical advisor or the coach of the team, because I've seen him in and around the Curaçao team often. So I watched the Curaçao game against Jamaica, the one that qualified them to the World Cup. And they played against the Reggae Boys of Jamaica, Leon Gray, this guy who used to play for, I
It's
forgot
not
his
Bailey. Is Bailey Jamaican? No.
Bailey is their captain.
Oh, Bailey's the captain. Okay.
Leon Bailey, but then there's this Archie Gray, or he's not. He used to play for Everton. One guy like that. No, Leicester City. Leicester City.
Yeah.
Leicester City had one gray guy like that.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah. Before I think I remember that.
yeah, they had like a very stacked team to an extent, and the Curaçao team like held them in the throat to a 0-0 draw. They even scored a goal which was ruled out for offside before everything just went way down south. I watched Curaçao's recent friendly against Scotland, and you know Scotland's squad from Andy Robertson, Scott McTominay, McGinn, and even it was in that game that Billy Gilmore got hurt, and he's now out of the competition. But the Scotland team has like some very, 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 very good players. And they lost 4-1. The way Curaçao was stringing passes and they even scored the first goal, I was like, okay, you won't amount to anything in the grand scheme of things, but you won't be as big of a laughingstock as people think you're going to be. So they are not a dark horse per se, but I just wanted to profile them slightly. In this case, New Zealand has Chris Wood. Chris Wood is their captain.
New Zealand is going to collect at least 6 goals.
Oh, then go collect. Then go collect.
The reason I have to say that is that I was wondering if you're going to say something nice about New Zealand, because it's just the new format of the World Cup and Oceania that is putting them in there. Like,
yes,
yeah.
Because I watched the full match. The very last friendly they played against Haiti, and Haiti beat them 4-0. What is going on? But then Chris Wood was again. They have one big name, Chris Wood, leading the attack, trying to make things happen for them. But then the New Zealand team is just not up to par. Australia will give a better account of themselves than New Zealand in the tournament. But when it comes to dark horses, at least the ones I've mentioned, Japan are going to be a good dark horse. Norway is up there. I am tempted to call Sweden, but the coach has been struggling to make the two work. Isak and Gyökeres playing at the same time. There's been a struggle. And I watched their recent friendly, was it yesterday or today, against Greece? They played 2-2. It just wasn't working. And the one before that, they lost 3-1, where Isak scored a fantastic solo goal. But it's just not working at the top. It's like they are trying to make the two of them get things going, because again, these are two big egos.
Yeah.
Right? And justifiably, Gyökeres should even start before Isak. But Isak has been in the national team longer than Gyökeres.
Yeah.
So this is where the friction is coming in, and that is what is making them false. I think they're having the conundrum that England had at some point with Lampard and Gerrard.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know whether I can call them dark horses, because I haven't been too impressed with their qualifiers and even the friendlies they've played as well. But then again, if you have quality players like Gyökeres and Isak in your team, I'd always give you a shout.
Yeah, they are ranked right now exactly at the same position with Senegal and Canada. That's Sweden.
Right. So logically, it's again the Swedish team. I don't know, but we'll see. They've always been a good tournament team to an extent, but we'll see. My final dark horse, Switzerland.
They are usually always a dark horse in some way. They have this potential to always be really good, always be good. They haven't just had this kind of Greece tournaments. They have not had these tournaments where they kind of get to the semi-final, they make a loud noise, but you can never underestimate Switzerland.
I think my problem I now have with them is the coach, Niko Kovac. Niko Kovac has been pissing me off since his time in the Bundesliga, so I don't know how he's going to pull things off with the Switzerland team, but they've always found a way with Ricardo on the wings, Granit Xhaka in the middle, this guy that plays up front for them, this black guy, I've forgotten his name. Oh,
Brillembolo.
It's fine. They know how to play tournaments. They'll give you an upset every now and then. So they are also going to be a dark horse that would boogie some teams here and there. I'm looking forward to their game against the Canadian team, and we are all hoping that at least what's his name, Alphonso Davies will be fit by then, just so Canada can also field its best of the best to see how they can match up to the first team, even though they are likely going to lose. But at least put out your best outfit and let's see how that fares against the Swiss team, because the Canadian team, at least in terms for viewers watching, both of us are based here in Canada, and at least the buzz around this current Canadian team with where they play and the various leagues in which they are coming from gives them a bit of an edge compared to the last time they went to the competition. And was it in Qatar? So we are all hoping that they'll give a good showing of themselves this time around. If they are to even to make a round of 32, it would be an accomplishment.
Yeah, they're a host country, so
yeah,
the farther they go, the more exciting, the more engaged the Canadian fans.
Maybe I forgot my last dark horse. I know these guys are not dark horses in the grand scheme of things, but they have the second oldest squad in the tournament. So
if it's the same team I'm thinking about, I was going to mention them not as a dark horse, but why the heck are they so old? Are you talking about Croatia?
Yes.
Oh my God, they are so old. Do you know I was thinking about Croatia recently, and I was like, why don't Croatia have any young players in any of the big leagues that I know? I hear no itch anymore.
The ages are getting out of the system.
And I was looking at their squad for the World Cup. Oh my God, are they old? You said they are the second oldest. Now, who is the second
oldest? I think the oldest was. I have to check again. But
you can go ahead with your
Croatia. Croatia has been the model tournament team. They know how to play tournaments. They've been with their current coach for, I think, since 2017. So he knows them inside out.
They are old.
They are very old. They are very, very old. From Perisic to Modric, the whole middle to front line. I think the only young person in there is Vadio. He's the only young person, but a good number of them are very old. So this is like a last dance for a lot of them. And these guys know how to play tournaments, right? Kovacic, Perisic, Modric, they've been there. Kamaric at the front, they've been there, they've done that, right? So I wouldn't call them dark horses per se, given their pedigree in tournaments over.
Oh no, I will be shocked if they make it all the way to the quarterfinals, final 8. I would be shocked.
I can't put it past them because they are on their last leg.
I would put it past them because they've done it before. 8 years ago, they were in the finals of the World Cup. So I'm not, and why I say that is these players were at their prime 8 years ago. But if they can come back with almost a non-reinvigorated team 8 years later and even be a top 8 team, I would consider that an extremely impressive performance. That's how I kind of look at it. It's like a golden age. But what I'm shocked at is the lack of youth infusion into this team. Yeah, you can have some of the old players. Modric will still be a quality midfielder. But when your wingers are Perisic and 40,
Perisic, Brozovic in the middle, just like a bunch of old.
It's tough for me to see them as a top 8 team. But as you said, they are experienced in this, and yes, the oldest team in the World Cup is Panama.
And so the oldest and the second oldest are all in the same group with England, with England and
retirement service. Oh, that game is going to be interesting.
Because it's Group F, and Group F is England, Panama, Croatia, Ghana.
You're telling me that England is going to be playing against 40-year-old men?
England's first game is against Croatia.
What?
That's England's first game.
So England is going to come into this World Cup, and they're going to play the 2 oldest teams in the World Cup.
World Cup, yes.
To start the World Cup. That means their group stage is not going to tell us anything about England, because what is this?
No, but then again, that is where we would be able to tell whether the Croatian team will be up to task. Because for all you know, this is going to be the launch pad for a lot of young players that we are saying we are not seeing in Europe anymore.
But yeah,
in the Croatian team, right? So that is why I am seeing them as a hybrid of both dark horses and OGs, because the OGs would give you what you expect to see. But are we now going to see a certain crop or new crop of talents that we haven't been exposed to yet through this tournament? And that is a high possibility. And given the quality of at least the OGs that they have in the current team, I can't put it past them that they'll bring in certain newer players in their own league or other leagues around them that we barely pay attention to, who would come and blow things off the park. The World Cup has a way of keep giving gifts. It's a gift that keeps giving, especially when it comes to launching new talents onto the scene. So I won't write off Croatia as much just yet. Even the Panama team, they are very strong. They've been with their current coach since 2021, and they made it to the final in the Gold Cup just last year. So they are not a team that is just coming to be a rollover to an extent. Even though at the end of the day, quality will always be quality. Their recent um, friendly against Brazil, they lost by 6 goals to 2. But then the one they played recently with Dominican Republic by 4 goals. So when it comes to teams that they believe they are on par with, their quality will show, and they are likely going to be um, a team that would give big teams a bit of a headache or a puzzle to solve. That is, if the big team doesn't accord them the respect that they deserve and just beats them accordingly. If they have to be complacent, they might be in for a surprise, especially with the Panamanian team.
But yeah, absolutely. I actually, I like those dark horses. Coming in, I would say my dark horses. The only time I'm looking at value based on expectation. I would say Ecuador. I think Ecuador gets to on a high mark. The quarterfinals would be an excellent tournament for them. But I think they're one thing that I like the moment you get into the knockout stages. I'm looking for excellent defensive teams. Ecuador checks a lot of the boxes for excellent defensive teams. That's where you can get one goal and it's good enough. They just need to get through the group stages, and it just takes penalties, not conceding goals. There are lots of ways you can get there. So I really like Ecuador. I love Senegal as well, just from the African continent. I think Senegal is positioned after whatever happened in the AFCON. I think they come into the international stage and Mane want to give a good performance, but I love some of the young players.
They are very good.
Iliman Ndiaye is an excellent football player.
He just doesn't know how to score well, but he's very good.
That midfield with
Ghana Gay.
And Papegui is an excellent footballer. Ismail Assar is an underrated.
There's quality all over it.
Oh my goodness. So I like Senegal as there. I do like Netherlands. Same thing I said about defense. I think Netherlands has an excellent defense. It plays out in tournaments in ways that can just come out as a surprise. You just need to get into the knockout phase, and there's this slow trickle. I remember when Italy won the World Cup, this a slow trickle of you get through one game at a time by playing solid defense. I think Netherlands has a good chance. If they make the top 8, it will be kind of expected. So maybe a semifinals would be a huge outperforming expectations for the Netherlands team. But that will be my dark horses. As for the teams at the very bottom, I think you made some excellent points. I think New Zealand is not rated low enough. Right now, New Zealand is rated higher than Jordan, Haiti, and Curacao. I don't know if they should be rated. You made a good point for Curacao. I think New Zealand comes under them. Haiti, New Zealand comes under the Haiti as well. I'm looking at this low. You said Cape Verde. Cape Verde might be a team really rated low here that might impress a few people that don't know much about them. Ivory Coast as well from the African continent. But it's going to be an exciting World Cup. We've got 48 teams. 48 teams means 48 countries with a whole lot of like things to prove. There's going to be a few storylines that's going to be written around the World Cup as well. Any final thoughts on the World Cup before we get to it? Hopefully we can get back in here during the World Cup and after the World Cup, probably definitely to recap how this World Cup went. Any final thoughts going into the World Cup? What are you looking forward to? Are there any, we didn't talk about this much, so we're going to round up with this. Are there any player performances you're looking forward to just to round up this?
Yeah, I think I'll do the two of them. So player performances and my general thoughts about the World Cup. In terms of player performances, for those that are gunning for the Ballon d'Or, this is going to be where the decisions are going to be made. So the likes of Harry Kane would have to pull up his weight.
Oh, Harry Kane is going to play against some retirement veteran.
Right? So the likes of Harry Kane have to step up the plate. I think conversations are putting Rice in the picture some way, somehow. So Rice also has to give a good account of himself in this tournament.
Ousmane Dembele has the World Cup. Just wondering.
Yes, he's so that is going to be a conundrum for the Spanish team because Fuentes prefers Juan Garcia.
Yes, is it the Barcelona goalkeeper?
Yes.
Yes.
So that is going to be the issue now because Raya has been by far the best keeper in the world this season. So as to who is going to guard the sticks for the Spanish team. We leave that to time. But in terms of players I'm looking to step up the plate, evidently, as I've mentioned, Rice, those who have more going for them in terms of wanting
Ballon
to win
d'Or.
Ballon d'Ors. Or Ousmane Dembele, even though I feel he doesn't deserve to be in the shouts this year, he has the PR going for him. So he also needs to have a good account.
Kvaratskhelia.
Unfortunately, Georgia couldn't
No,
make it
Georgia couldn't make it, but I think Kvaratskhelia could be the Ballon d'Or.
because the Georgian team has a very, very good team. Mamadashvili,
The goalkeeper, yeah.
Kvaratskhelia, they have one other guy. I even watched their friendly recently where they won 2-0. Kvaratskhelia scored. He's their captain. But yeah, that was a sidestep.
Yeah.
So for players who have a stake in wanting to win the Ballon d'Or, they have to step up. This is going to be a legacy-defining tournament for Ronaldo as well, even though, of course, he's on his last legs.
And he has a good team that can get him there, just
Exactly.
like Messi. If that midfield for Portugal can come through and there's a decent coaching, they're just as good, you know.
You just hit the nail on the head because I don't trust the coach. Roberto Martinez has been a terrible coach since he took up the reins from Belgium to Portugal. He's been terrible, even though they won the Nations Cup.
Are you telling me that, you just mentioned this now, that Martinez went from Belgium and Portugal thought this is the coach that will win us the World Cup?
I don't know.
Yeah. You mentioned
Martinez,
that. I think I missed that in the coaching realignment.
After Martinez wasted Belgium's golden age, he's coming to waste this one too. And I don't know what is wrong with them in Europe, but that is a conversation for another day. This is Ronaldo's legacy. Messi has defined his legacy already. He's now coming to play without pressure and to enjoy himself. For Ronaldo, it means much more because this is the last one he can ever play in. And I guess the logic here would be, how do you manage Ronaldo in this point and let him know that it is not about him? Because it will be a travesty for this current Portuguese setup to die at the altar of Ronaldo, trying to play for him when he can't add too much on that front foot. So will Ronaldo be willing to come from the bench in certain cases, or when they need that X factor on the pitch? That is something we leave time to see as to how Martinez would handle things. This is Haaland's first World Cup. I expect a lot from him because he single-handedly just dragged Norway into this World Cup. So I'm just looking to see how, when the lights are bright, he would cut it out at the top level for Norway. He's been fantastic for them, and I'm hoping that he would still continue his streak with the Norwegian national team. So I think all in all, the expectations would always lie on the big players that we are looking to see step up the plate and make it a fantastic tournament. Mbappe has had a terrible season, so personally he's been good. He scored a lot of goals.
Yeah.
But I guess he would want to do more this time around and restamp his authority again, because in the last two that he's played, he's been to the final and he's been phenomenal.
Yeah.
So will he repeat the same thing this time around to relive that to time? And to wrap up, my general thoughts about the competition: viewers around the world, this is going to be one of the best World Cups you'd ever see. And I've always loved tournaments where unassuming teams or countries, in this case countries, are part of the tournament. Yes, people might feel like it's too much water and it is dwindling down the quality, but qualifiers were played, and those who think they were good enough couldn't make it. The likes of Italy. So if somebody has made it, give them a shot and watch them. And that is what has informed why I've watched the likes of Curacao, New Zealand, just to see what they have going for them and what I can expect from them in this tournament. What I can say is it's going to be an enjoyable tournament. This summer is going to be a very beautiful one. There's going to be football almost every day. The transition from the group phase to round of 32, there's a 7-day gap for the players to rest. So that is going to be very helpful, just so we have a strong knockout period where players are well rested and they can go at it back to back to back when that time comes. But it's going to be a very beautiful tournament. More teams means more eyeballs, and it means more excitement. And where there's excitement, there's always going to be surprises. And if there's one thing that the World Cup is very good at doing, is giving us surprise packages every now and then, and birthing a star every now and then too. The most recent one in Qatar gave us Enzo Fernandez. We'll see which other one we'll be getting from this one.
Yeah, and recently I remember James Rodriguez also being a World Cup
star. In 2018.
Remember Diego Forlan being a World Cup star in 2010. The World Cup has a way of projecting these players that stay in your mind.
It will bless you.
Yeah, that stay in your mind for a really long time. So I'm looking forward to it as the World Cup. it's always very exciting. One thing is a lot of players play with a lot of passion as well. You can see the commitment runs deep in the World Cup.
It's a national team.
Everybody gets it that a lot of times when you come into the World Cup, it's not for a lack of trying. There are just other factors. It's kind of those tournaments that you realize everybody cares about, but most often than not. But yes, we're looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Danny, for doing this World Cup preview. Those dark horses were really good insights into what a lot of the viewers here might actually be looking forward to now, looking more keenly at these teams as the tournament progresses as well. For everyone watching the World Cup, have yourself a fantastic World Cup. We'll all be watching it here. We'll all be pulling for various countries and teams and players and the various narratives that's going to be coming. And for the people going to watch the World Cup, FIFA has made it unaffordable, but we're still going to watch it somehow anyway. So to everyone, thank you so much for being on the show. Let's have a fantastic World Cup.
Absolutely.
It's US, Canada, Mexico 2026. Peace.